Hi guys, this is Sarah Grace from Little Distractions. I'm here to talk about something that I've never really opened about on my channel. It's because it's quite a difficult subject to talk about because literally nobody knows what this is. So, when I was a baby, just before I was born, I was diagnosed with Triplo-X syndrome, which is something that wasn't really a thing back 30, 40 years ago. So most women wouldn't know about it unless they had like a problem and they had a blood test and it showed that on the blood test. So a lot of people went through life with random problems like me where doctors didn't know what it was and they couldn't understand why, that these things were happening to them. And unfortunately, there's not enough research done about Triplo-X in adults. It's more like they look at Triplo-X in children and how it affects their growing up until about puberty. Kind of like how autism is kind of, seen more in children than it is in adults, if you know what I mean. So with that being said, my mom and dad were just told that I could experience physical issues like pinky finger bending, like curvature of the pinky finger. That's not as bad as some people, but you can also get curved pinky toes. You'd be taller than average. But that was just like the physical things. There was also the learning difficulties because you're slower to learn, which means you could get dyslexia. I had a pre-screening of dyslexia and I was at risk of having dyslexia. There's also speech issues, as you'll hear with me throughout this whole video, and just difficulty in learning difficulties. And then this also leads to mental disorders like anxiety, depression, ADHD, autism, borderline personality disorder, and probably more, to be honest. But this also means that there's organ issues. There's you can get kidney issues, like I have a duplex kidney. You can have heart issues, and different websites say different things, and I think it's because there's just no research. People don't know what this can really do to you as an adult because they more care about you as a kid, if you're getting me now. So this means all the way through my life I didn't know what was going on. I got heart palpitations for ages, random pains in different places for ages. Doctors had no idea what was wrong with me, what was going on. Then I started developing stomach issues, which is a common problem with the people who have Triplo-X. I mean, it says pretty much on every website you look at is stomach problems, frequent UTIs, which then could also mean that you could get sensitive bladder, bladder issues, which I have. And over time, over years go by, I get worse. Anyway, so I found out on this Facebook group, I found out on a group on Facebook that was based for Triplo-X in adults, but most of the comments were from moms who wanted to know what Triplo-X was, so they could help their baby growing up. But there were posts from people who have Triplo-X with similar issues I've got, like nerve pain, poor muscles, which lead to fibromyalgia, which I have been diagnosed with. But all this recent all the problems I've got now has only been recently found out with different names because I'm actually chasing things and trying to find out from professionals. Whereas way back when I was younger, that was just not accessible for me. So yeah, when you look at it online, lots of different places will say, okay, well, you may get these certain things, but these are more on the severity sort of side. You may not get any symptoms and live your life normally. That can happen too. But it was just interesting to see on this group all the people that have similar issues to me and how much research is not done. Because if there's such a pattern of people having the same sort of symptoms, not being able to get diagnosed with anything, and nothing being found on tests, and then link back to Triplo-X, surely there's something that links there. But I'm not into science at all. I used to love biology and try to get involved in that, but I was never very good at it, and I suffered heavily in maths and learning difficulties and speech issues. But only recently have I been trying to get diagnosed with borderline personality disorder. Now, with a borderline personality disorder. I was diagnosed about 2 years ago, but I thought I was misdiagnosed, so I went a different route. I went to have a look at autism, and they based it off a lot of things, and I have been diagnosed with autism now, which is like a big thing because that is a lot bigger than borderline personality disorder in my opinion. But also at the same time, you can have both, the same as you can have ADHD and autism, which now I'm going for an ADHD test, but I have to have all the paperwork done for the autism thing, but that's just that. The other thing I wanted to mention was infertility. So a lot of people, they can be fine, they can live their normal lives and not have any problems, and most of the places do say that, you know, people it won't affect their fertility or anything. But then some places, and the more severity type of people, can have fertility issues, which mine are currently being looking at through different blood tests, because I can't take certain types of birth control because I think when I last looked at it, it's because of the hormones and it interacts with my hormones, and there was never any research done, because if you live in the UK, the NHS don't really care about, you know, trying to find things out. They more care about emergency sort of things and operations and that sort of thing. So when you try to go and get, you know, things sorted out and try to find out what you've got, you'll usually get to a point where doctors will say, literally, we have no idea what's wrong, can you go away please, and we'll work on the next person. You're treated like a number, and that doesn't help when you have loads of issues going on and you have no idea why. So yeah, that's basically Triplo-X syndrome. You get diagnosed when you're younger, or if you've never been diagnosed, you get diagnosed with it when you have like blood tests done, when you find there's like problems with your kidney, or you're having frequent UTIs and they want to find out, you know. So a lot of people don't even know they've got it, and it's a real shame. So yeah, and it's like, okay, well, what can be done, you know? You got random heart palpitations you've had your whole life, well, what can be done? Nothing. I feel like Triplo-X links with so many things across the board, like mental and physical, and over time with me, it just gets worse. Like another thing then happens, then another thing. I never had fibromyalgia when I was 13, you know, and I'm like, I had a sensitive stomach when I was that young, but I never had sensitive bladder syndrome as I do today. So I think, unfortunately, it's just getting worse, the same as like MS gets worse over time. And no, you know, I could end up having kidney issues, or I could end up having heart issues, who knows? It's just one of those things we have to live with. So yeah, I also can't take certain types of antidepressants because of the nerve pains I get. Interacts with that and makes other things become apparent, like sharp stabby pains in my face, or sharp stabby pains where I'm sitting for a while, which I'm getting in my legs now. You know, it's crazy. And another thing, is you can have weird ovaries. So like they can be abnormally bigger than usual, or like certain parts of your body can be bigger than usual, like your ribs or something, like you've got an abnormal shape. And that might explain why maybe I had a lot of rib cage issues when I was about 16. I had a lot of pain in my rib cage, and no one could tell me why. No one knew why. And who knows, it could have been the start of fibromyalgia, or it could have been something else. Do you know what I mean? There's just not enough research done in Triplo-X, and, you know, Triplo-X in adults in general. And it's a really big shame, and I really wish there was more kind of like just support or just more media about it, like there is for Down syndrome and for cancers and stuff. But like I said, the professionals just think it exists in kids up until you're about 13, and you'll have no symptoms, or if you do, you're one of the severity types, even though there's like 14,000 members on this Facebook group and tons of people have the same problems that I do. So you know, it could be pure coincidence, or it could be something actually going on here. But you know, it's just one of those things, isn't it? I wish I was smarter, and I wish, you know, I could do that sort of thing. I love research in general. It's like what I call my special talent. If you have a special talent with autism, I love research. I'm doing it all the time, but I'm very impulsive, and then I can end up buying things I don't need. But then I can do lots of research in kind of like medical stuff. Like I found out about central sensitivity syndrome, which is like an across the board sensitivity thing. Like it can be sensitive to mental things, sensitive to physical things, and I did like a whole study on it and stuff, but like, and came up with my own theory. But don't we all when we do research, you know what I mean? So it's like, I love research, I love science, but unfortunately I'm not smart enough to then look into do studies based on like how people, I don't know. It doesn't sound that hard actually, but I don't know what you'd have to do to even do that. So yeah. Well, thanks for watching this video anyway, and if you've randomly clicked on this video because you found out your daughter has Triplo-X syndrome, or you have Triplo-X syndrome, I just want to let you know you're not alone, and I'm going to post a Facebook group down below so you can share your experience and know that, you know, lots of people have had similar problems to you, or if not the same. So yeah, thanks for watching this video. Bye.